Hello, everyone. Just 1 second, and we will start this brief discussion. Okay, hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. So the reason I am doing this short video is to discuss the use of online tools in order to teach more effectively. And this is something very important in the moment that we're going through, in which we are using more online tools for teaching. Okay. So also, again, we're trying to do here a few channels of using a few channels, and if you have any comments, please let me know if you have any questions. So again, the idea is to discuss how to teach online using a few tools to make it more effectively. And again, we're broadcasting this to our PPCR alumni or PPCR colleagues, and also, again, some colleagues from Harvard in the department that I teach. They asked if I could do a short video to share some of the experience that I have in terms of online teaching. So that's the idea for doing this short video and then live, and then will become a video as well. We'll post that in our YouTube channel. And then, so let me just quickly discuss a few points here. One is it different? So how different it is online teaching versus traditional teaching? Okay? So I think that's an important thing. First important thing that we need to think and reflect a bit. And I know everyone knows it's obvious that it is different, but how different it is and how that impacts learning. And here, of course, it's a complex question, and it depends on several factors. I think the main factor here for you to think better is what is your type of teaching? Are you using mostly the student-centered teaching method or the teacher-centered teaching method? Okay, and that's one thing that you need to be thinking here when designing your teaching. So again, for instance, if you are using the teacher-centered method, meaning that you just go to the classroom and think on your traditional teaching, just go there with your PowerPoint slides, you teach, and you can even open the questions at the end for the participants, but you go from the beginning to the end, just a one-way interaction. That, in a way, is a little bit easier to transform. It's true there's some challenges that we discuss. But I think the main issue, of course, is how about if I do use a more sort of student-centered method, which should be used, by the way, meaning that, again, the focus is not on the teacher, but on the students. So they have to participate actively in the lecture. Okay. And I'm just checking here if there's any comments so far. So if you're using the student-centered method, how can you transform that traditional teaching that you go to a classroom, you talk to the students, you have your activities to online teaching? That's what I quickly wanted to discuss now. And then, so let's start with the easiest one, which is the teacher-centered method, in which you just go there and then you show your PowerPoint slides, and you do a presentation, or could you even be just speaking? And then at the end, you can even open for questions. So how can you transform that in an effective online teaching? So again, I think it's not as simple as just record, just put it your webcam and record, and then just ask participants to either connect via camera and then show the type their questions or say their questions, or just type their questions in the chat. Again, one of the main things you have to think here is that if you're in a classroom, it's much easier to keep your attention focused on the lecture, and then to be reflecting during that. Again, I do not recommend this teacher-centered approach in which it's a mostly one-way interaction. But if that's your teaching, so one thing that you need to think is not just using the video camera and then just go and record from your house, where your office, wherever you are. You have to think that the participants will likely be less interested in, not less interest, but have more competition in terms of the for keeping attention in your lecture. Okay, so and how can you increase? And I think that's one of the main things here. Here you need to thinking on how to enhance this sort of attention of participants in your lecture. Okay? Again, if you're using this one-way communication, okay, because in a classroom, again, you can control a little bit more the environment. Again, the participants will feel a little bit more uncomfortable to be. Some days should do it, but they may feel a little bit more uncomfortable to be just typing on their cell phone, or there'll be less distraction. They don't have their cell phone. They can answer the calls and so on. All the other things also, stopping to eat something or going to the restroom. They can go, but it's not as often. Anyway, so you can put a list of things that if you are in your house or somewhere else, the amount of distraction that can take you away from a lecture. Okay, so I think that's your challenge. So how can you keep them connected, even though if you are planning to do a one-way interaction and one-way sort of streaming to your participants? Okay, and that's one thing that I think it's really important here. For if that's your goal, you really have to do two things. One is try to shorten and decrease the duration of your lecture. So if that's too long, so likely it'll be difficult to hold their attention for that long period of time. And if you say, look, I wanted to do a long lecture, so maybe you can break in parts. You do one part, and then you may do an exercise. And then here, again, if you're doing this online, I really think that you need to start using more interaction with the participants, live interaction. So again, you can be doing some comments with the students, via chat. You can do some polls. You can do it, a few things that will bring the attention back to you. One thing that I also like to use it in the programs that I teach is using tools to enhance, not only, again, one thing that we always have to think first in the courses we design is enhancing intrinsic motivation of the participants. They're highly motivated to be part of your program, to know that the learning will have an effect on their lives. However, I think tools to enhance as well extrinsic motivation, especially during the lectures. If you're doing, an online lecture, I think that's very important too. Okay, what do I mean by that? So, meaning that in a way you give them a reward if they are connected. For instance, you can put some polls. If you have someone to help you, that would be easier. Or if you can do it, if you leave everything set up and then say, look, let's do a poll, some way to check their participation throughout. So again, it's a little bit of rewarding for them to be in front of the computer listening to you. And it's not just leaving the computer on, they'll have to be listening, to be participating on that. So I think those are great tools to keep the attention on. Because again, remember, that's about a competition of resources, meaning a competition of stimuli, actually. Okay, so and that's a challenge when you're doing a online teaching or just or a online lecture. Okay, so what else? And how about if you're doing a student-centered program, meaning that you do use a lot of interactions, you do have a lot of interactions, and actually the focus is on the students. How can you adapt that to your teaching? So here again, you need to think as well. It's not, and that's one thing that's important as well. It's not just getting one from the traditional classroom and try to adapt, meaning that, you know, if you do activities with the students in class that you ask them to divide in small groups, discuss something, and you just translate that to your online teaching, it's not going to work that much. But the principle is the same. So you have to see the tools you have at. Your goal is for the students to participate during the lecture. And then what you need to do it, see the tools you have it that you can implement those activities. You have to adapt, meaning, okay, so you can't just, again, try to do what you do in classroom, to do it online. Okay, so, and again, you depend on what you use it. So I use different programs throughout the years in the PPCR program and other programs I teach as well online. And again, the advantage of teaching online is not only times like this one. That's what my colleagues, some of my colleagues, they are asking, and we're doing this short video, but also to enhance the reaching of your program. So again, that's the idea of doing that. But going back there, so there are different platforms, and your goal is having students participate and interacting with you. Okay. And again, there are platforms that are easier to use and other ones that have, others that have less participation tools. The basic participation tool that most of platforms they have it, or all of them they have it, is the comments in the chat. And again, if that's the only thing you have it, just go for that. Just be careful. If your class is too large, that may become a bit messy. Okay. So I teach smaller courses online as well, and it does work well with the chat. So the participants that go ask questions, they post their responses, and of course you have to choose a few to comment. You can't comment on everything, otherwise you just lose the rhythm. Again, if that's the only thing, just use that. Another thing you can use it even if you're streaming. Platform, for instance, Zoom or WebEx or whatever platform you're using, does not have all the features. You can use in parallel another platform. For instance, it could be broadcasting from Zoom, and participants could be doing some exercises in other platform. You can name it. It could be some internal platform you have it in your course, a Moodle, so on. It could be, for instance, chat platforms. Could even be Skype, or use it to River and Slack in some of our courses, so they can open up. So you can have two browsers. So you have your streaming, and at the same time you also have your chat platform to do exercise with them. And then you can create these small groups. They can discuss, and you can go there. So again, the same thing, the same principle, not the same thing, sorry, the same principle, meaning that you lead a discussion, but then trying to organize the discussion using electronic tools. And then again, and how you organize the discussion, it depends on the number of students and also the tools you have it. And you need to be creative here. And it's difficult to give a recipe for, this is, but your goal is, using what you have it, how can you get a student participating most of the time, and then keep a flow discussing the content, what you have to do it. Another thing as well on online teaching is try to decrease the amount of content you wanted to teach in your lectures. Again, as much as you can prepare them before, better it is. Again, any general course using this method, student-centered method, lectures are not just to discuss the reflection on the content, not just to introduce the content. Again, the basics of flipped classroom method. Okay, but that's again, I would strongly suggest again and now the content is easy to provide. That again, using this flipped classroom method, you provide the content before they discuss, and then they go to classroom to be more sort of a discussion, and then you organize the discussion again using the tools you have. It you should know your participants as much as possible, and that's a little bit difficult if that's something you're just teaching for the first time. But you should try to, again, get to know participants so you can interact with them. Finally, again, if it's a small course and if you can also get them to turn on their cameras to be a more live participation, that's easier. However, be careful with one thing for this online teaching. If, for instance, if you call someone and you wait for them to turn on the camera, turn on the microphone, and then you ask your question, and then you call someone else. If there are too much delay between you asking and the student coming, then you also lose your rhythm, and then that's another good thing as well. So again, that's why using these other tools for communication, that helps to keep the dynamic. So again, you stop. Okay, so you start discussing a topic, you stop, let's go and break in small groups, go to our chat communication platform, whatever that you have in your program, Slack, and you break in groups. They know the groups they are. They start discussing. The great things as well is that, again, same thing in class, that you go over the groups, you can go over the chats and see what they're discussing and select some comments, and then you discuss. And that's the best you can do it. Again, given that if you have a very small class, 10 people or less, just ask everyone to turn on the cameras. If they can, again, some people may, depending on the situation where they are connecting, they may not be able to. But if that's possible, one thing you're doing in PPCR is asking participants before the ones who can turn on the camera. We know that's a little bit of, again, is a difficult thing for the classroom. If you go to a classroom and prepare, you go there, and it's a different situation that someone watching from home, from watching from somewhere that's not a class. Okay, so you can prepare. You can discuss with few students. Look, please, for this lecture, come and be prepared to be in the camera. So then it'll be a bit easier. Okay. And yeah, so that's my general sort of advice in terms of, again, teaching online effectively. Again, just summarizing. Again, don't try to provide too much content in a short period of time. Have breaks. If you don't like the interaction, if you're not used to the interaction, or for some reason you don't want to use it, at least, again, do breaks and do some sort of activity they can do by their own. For instance, a small quiz, a small poll, or at least some breaks as well that you can go in. And again, try to reward participants who are in the lecture. So give you a little bit of extrinsic motivation for them to be there. Okay. Again, that's part of bringing the attentional resources to you. And finally, if you're doing a student-centered, if you're used to, and that's what you do it in your classes, which highly recommended if you want effective learning, then again, communication between participants is key. And how to use it, if chat is the only thing you have, it has to be a small class. If not, you have to do an additional app, or other streaming programs that have a little bit more tools for participation. Again, one that I know, there are others, is Adobe Connect. WebEx actually is also another option. But again, this traditional Zoom or Go Meeting from Google, they only give you chat. Okay, so small classes, they work. And then finally, camera, if you connect the participant and then you ask, and then that should work. That's the that's a good option as well. Okay, so and that's just brief suggestions, and that's what I wanted to discuss. Again, my colleagues asked, and I wanted to open up for the PPCR community. So hopefully you also teaching or thinking of teaching, and then it seems that it may be for a while that we'll be using these methods. Okay, and hopefully can be effective. So again, if you have any questions, you do have it. I'll publish these in our YouTube channel. So I'm doing both here. That's why I have two cameras. It may be a bit confusing, but I'm publishing these in our YouTube channel as well. And you can post your comments, the PPCR channel on YouTube. All right. Thank you, everyone. Oh, wait, sorry. There was a... Oh, yeah, so there's a suggestion here, sorry. Then I'll just see here, there's a suggestion about a live about opportunities of research during COVID. Good idea. So we can try to do that as well. So discussing, again, what is the new landscape and what are the opportunities as well. Which is interesting because there's so much uncertainty, and that's an interesting topic as well. Thanks so much. And let me just see if there's anything else here. Any other comments? Again, sorry, I'm not as used to that here. Oops. Yeah, so Stefano says, again, discussion is an important principle. Again, it's, and hopefully also that my last comment here, hopefully and Stefano is saying here, this, shifting traditional class to online learning will also, make teachers, lecturers, instructors, whatever you want to call, a little bit more concerned with that. Again, the participation is key. If you, again, learning, and I'm just summarizing a lot of concepts here, but learning is about reflection, is about conversation, is about communication. Again, communication will help you to reflect. That's what I mean here. So one-way communication, especially if someone is speaking for 40, 50 minutes, that has a very limited impact. Okay, so that's why, again, the interaction and discussion is key. Again, if you don't want to use it, which you should be at least try a few things to keep participants connected. Okay. All right. So let me see if there's any other comments here. No, excellent. So again, if you have it, oops, any other comment? Oops, and I'm okay. Yeah, if you have any other comments, please let me know. Again, we wanted to try to enhance the interaction in our PPCR channel as well. And that's what we're all using. So, and I think live is a way of enhancing communication. So if anyone else also has an idea, please send it to me. You all have my mail. My mail is published as well, so we can also do a quick live together. Again, the time is limited during the day. This one I've been promising, I've been postponing, and then I just did it today. But please let me know. So, or we'll do something with someone else, with Alma and another one. So I'll be happy to. So again, the idea is again for us to learn, keep learning together as we do in PPCR. Okay. All right, everyone. So thank you for coming, and please email me if any questions, and good luck with your teaching. Okay. Thank you all. Bye. Let me see how can I